Hello everyone, welcome to our webinar, Set Yourself Up for Success, How to Use CallSource to Better Your Business, Part 4 of our 10-part series. My name is Stephanie Krowski and I'm a Senior Business Advisor here at CallSource. I'm also joined by Tiffany Tran, a fellow advisor.
Hi everyone.
Please keep in mind that today's webinar will be recorded and available for you to view at a future time. Also, if you haven't already done so, please dial into the telephone option in your webinar panel. This will allow you to participate in our discussion at the end if you have any questions. So let's go ahead and get started. So CallSource reports offer an array of data to be used as you need. However, it can be overwhelming to sift through the information and put the data into action. In today's webinar, we will review the tools at your disposal, how to understand your data, and how to use CallSource reports to help you work on your business. We will review the advisory services that are available to you, how to measure your office's performance through CallSource reports, and revenue recovery through email alerts. So let's go ahead and start with an overview of advisory services. Your CallSource representative is dedicated to your account and is here to help you understand and utilize the data in your reports. We are the industry experts. With over 4,000 locations in the healthcare industry, we are able to provide you with industry comparisons and a view from outside of your four walls. Your advisor's role is to own your goals and your expectations. We are here to help you reach the goals that you set. And your CallSource representative is here to provide you with actionable analytics. Simply put, we provide you with the steps to take to reach your goals based on the data that your report shows. So that could be steps to improve your front office performance if your office is below industry standards, or maximizing your marketing spend. CallSource is performance management for your marketing, sales, and reputation. The data in the reports will let you know what areas of strength you have and what your areas of focus for improvement are. So even though your advisor is here to help you, the only way to see improvements is to review your reports on a consistent basis and make the necessary changes. In just a moment, we will review some of the various reports available to you and the key performance indicators to monitor in each report. But first, I'd like to get a better understanding of how often you're currently reviewing the data. So in just a second, you will see a poll in front of you. Please take a moment and answer the poll. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share the results. So as you can see, we kind of have a split stance of how often people are reviewing their CallSource reports from weekly, monthly. So today's webinar will be good to review an overview of the reports and really what you need to be looking at weekly to get a better gauge of those key performance indicators. So let's start off with the owner summary report. CallSource's owner summary report provides an in-depth yet easy to read update on your business's performance metrics. Now every month this report is emailed to you and it provides you information on a recap of the system data. The key purpose of the owner summary report is to give you an overview of the data that we gathered in our system over the previous month, giving you insight into your strengths and weaknesses. So this is one report that is available to you monthly and should be one of the few reports that you look at just once a month. The owner summary report provides you insight into your call analysis. So this will break down how many calls you received and what types of calls were they. Were they prospects or non-prospects? And gives you insight into when you had the highest and lowest appointment conversion dates and times. The report also gives you insight into your marketing trends, so you can see how your marketing has been performing not just that month, but over the past 6 months. as well as conversion trends so you can see how your front office is performing. And this report also gives you industry comparisons. So how do you compare to your industry and how has this changed over time? Now, reviewing this report every month will show you how you're trending and if you've met the goals that you have set and how you compare to the industry. Now, while it is important to review this data to track your progress, this report is what we would call a lagging indicator, meaning that any changes in processes or procedures will not affect the data. It is a summary of what already happened. So while this report will allow you to analyze your office's performance from the previous month, the online platform enables you to monitor your data more frequently. Now, by investing 30 minutes a week reviewing specific metrics that I'll review throughout the rest of this webinar, you'll be empowered to influence your scores during the course of each month by implementing the suggested changes. So let's take a look at the traffic analysis report, one of the reports that we suggest that you look at weekly. The traffic analysis report provides immediate insight into your flow of calls, general call statistics, and a breakdown of your calls for your marketing sources. So you will be able to review calls by hour of the day, which will give you insight into what your busy times of day are. This information can also be viewed by day of the week, allowing you to make operational decisions based on peak days and times. Now, charts in this report will also break out the calls by connected calls versus missed calls. And it is important to keep an eye on your missed calls. These are the callers who either received a busy signal when they called or hung up before ever reaching your office. The traffic analysis report also will display your percentage of answered calls. You want to monitor this KPI to see if your percentage of answered calls has decreased. If so, look at the amount of no answer calls and the amount of busy calls that you received. If you had more no answer calls, this could be an indication of staffing issues. If you had more busy calls, this could be an indication of overcapacity on your phone lines. So in addition to the traffic analysis report, you should review marketing reports to provide immediate insight into how your potential patients are responding to your various advertising efforts. So you want to monitor your prospect percentage weekly to see if it is decreasing. If it is, analyze the data in your reports to see what types of non-leads you are receiving and if this can be addressed immediately. So for example, are your employees calling in on tracking lines, or are patients calling in to cancel their appointments and calling in off of those tracking lines as well? Now, if you do notice a high number of patients calling to cancel appointments, you may want to consider implementing a callback program to recapture those canceled appointments. So when reviewing your marketing reports, you want to see if any new marketing pieces targeted the wrong audience. A large volume of non-prospect phone calls responding to one specific advertisement may indicate that the wrong audience was targeted. Another data point available to you is the amount of hang-up calls that your office is receiving. A high volume of hang-up calls will lower your prospect percentage as well as indicate any other potential issues occurring in your office. So monitor your hang-up calls to see if you received more than usual, and then listen to the audio files to see the audio files of these calls to see and understand why those hang-up phone calls occurred. So, you may find that callers reached your voicemail and did not leave a message, or, maybe callers were placed on hold and they hung up. So once you have an understanding of why these hang-up phone calls occurred, you can then address any issues as needed. So for example, you may notice that callers hung up without leaving a voice message during business hours. And if that's the case, you want to further analyze and figure out why calls are not being answered when your office is open. Now, if callers were left on hold for too long and that's the reason why they hung up, you may want to review hang-up protocols with your team so that they're not leaving patients on hold for too long. So reviewing your conversion rates and missed opportunities are crucial in identifying potential lost revenue. Monitoring these reports consistently allows you to have more control of subtle changes that can be made day to day versus waiting on your monthly owner summary report. This can also help in identifying trends and help in addressing any potential issues that may be occurring. So prospect to appointment set ratio shows you the percentage of prospect calls converted into an appointment. If you are noticing a steady decline in your conversion rates, your business advisor can meet with you to help you understand where the potential issues may be. Reviewing conversions by employee will let you see if there is an underperforming employee, and reviewing conversions by ad source can give you deeper insight into your marketing efforts. So maybe a marketing campaign is generating prospects but is causing confusion to those patients calling in, and it's not leading to any appointments being set. Now, you should monitor your total appointments on a weekly basis as well. This will help you keep track to reach your goals. This is especially important if you have a certain goal set of how many appointments you want to receive every week and every month. And review your missed opportunities weekly. This will allow you to not only see how many prospects are being missed, but this allows you to utilize these missed opportunities immediately for training and to follow up with that caller if necessary. So here are some things to consider when reviewing your conversion reports. Are you meeting your conversion goal? If not, then review the recordings of these calls. Note when these missed opportunities occurred. Is there a pattern worth noting? Does any call require you as an owner or a manager to personally call back? Now, are some employees converting lower than the office average? If so, review that individual's phone calls and then begin a coaching plan with that person so you can address their specific needs. So many of the reports and KPIs that we have reviewed so far will take time to implement or to create a change in process. However, one key thing that you can start doing today is to follow up with your missed opportunities. So what is a missed opportunity, and how does CallSource define a missed opportunity? We define it as a caller in which someone calls in and is interested in your services and does not book an appointment for whatever reason. Maybe they want to check their schedule, they need to speak with their husband or wife, or maybe they just want to shop around a bit more. But if we don't hear a finalized commitment for an appointment, we will score it as a missed opportunity in our system. Now, you can find your missed opportunities in your CallSource reports. However, these calls can be emailed directly to you. You can have an email of all of your prospect calls sent to you every morning. And if you are not already receiving this, reach out to your CallSource representative. In this report, the calls will either be marked as appointment set or missed opportunity from all of your prospects the previous day. Now, CallSource provides the chance to review your missed opportunities sooner than your daily report through our Deal Saver program. With this program, you will receive an email alerting you of missed opportunities within 2 hours of the call not being booked. And this will allow you to respond to that missed opportunity much sooner, not waste any time, and prevent them from reaching out to a competitor. Now, whether you receive your missed opportunities daily or from the Deal Saver program, what should you be doing with these alerts when you receive them? Utilizing these calls for coaching team members is crucial to the development of the team's phone skills. You want to address any issues or training opportunities immediately before the person forgets about the situation. Most importantly, you want to utilize these alerts to follow up with the lost prospects. Even rebooking a few calls a month can increase your revenue without increasing your marketing spend. The lost prospects are interested in your services and should be considered warm leads. When following up with these missed opportunities, it's important to have processes in place to make the most of the callback. So I'm actually going to let Tiffany review a standard operating procedure for missed opportunity follow-ups.
Thanks, Stephanie. So there's a few things that you should consider when you're processing these Deal Saver alerts. The first thing is before the missed opportunity even occurs, you want to make sure that you have a plan in place. So the first step would be to create a tracker sheet that you can keep in a shared folder to share with your team. let your team know that a follow-up plan is going to be implemented with the missed opportunities, and let them know that this has been implemented to help support their jobs and not work against them. And to determine who will receive the deal alerts or daily prospect reports, and also determine who should be making those callback attempts. The next step in the process would be to create a structure for a follow-up phone call. So a missed opportunity call comes in. Now, what do you do? The first step would be, why didn't they book an appointment? So you want to listen to the call and determine the reason why the caller didn't book the appointment in the first place, and have several different scripts or scenarios prepared depending on what kept them from booking on the first phone call. Number 2, have a plan. Make sure you know what you're going to do before you call, because you're going to go into the call more prepared and confident that way versus just calling them without having a plan beforehand. Number 3, make the call. And number 4, track your results. You'll want to track all of those callback attempts you've made so you can truly see the results in your efforts in terms of the revenue you've gained. By tracking the outbound calls made, you can make sure that none of them slip through the cracks, especially if you have more than one person in the office making those outbound calls. It'll help you keep track of the ones you've spoken with. That's where that shared tracker sheet and that shared folder comes into play. I'm going to pass it back to Stephanie to continue.
Thank you, Tiffany. Those are some really good tips to utilize when following up with missed opportunities, and I really hope that you guys are able to use some of them with your callbacks. So one of the last things that I'm going to review today is the telephone performance analysis report. So everything that I've reviewed up until now, the reports you should be looking at weekly. Now the telephone performance analysis report, otherwise known as TPA, is a scorecard of your call handlers, and it grades each individual's overall call handling performance and their performance in specific areas such as a proper greeting or building value. And this report is published once a month, so this is one that you don't need to go in weekly, but you should be reviewing once a month. Now, this scorecard reinforces to your employees that they are being held accountable for how they are handling those patient phone calls. TPA pinpoints strengths and weaknesses amongst team members and will help you understand if there are certain areas within the conversation that your team may be struggling with. And TPA should be utilized to help coach your team in conjunction with the conversion rates that the other reports offer. And in the report, you can see trending for an employee to see if they're making improvements. So this will reinforce that the training that you're investing into each individual employee is working, or if they're continuing to struggle in those certain areas, you're going to see month over month their increases or decreases. Now, in a future webinar, we will be reviewing in more detail tips on coaching your team, as well as CallSource does offer a coaching program. And if you want more information on the telephone performance analysis report or more information on our coaching solution, reach out to your dedicated CallSource representative. So at this time, I want to thank everybody for attending our webinar. Please look out for emails for our next webinar on establishing goals. Now, I did want to open it up to any questions that anybody may have at this time.
Hi, Stephanie. It's Tiffany again. I just have a quick question.
Yeah.
One of the questions I receive often from my clients is how to approach those missed opportunity callback attempts. Do you have any best practices to share with the group today?
Yes, absolutely. That is a really good question. I know sometimes it can feel overwhelming when you receive these alerts and you know that you're supposed to call back, but may not know the best practices and how to do so. So first of all, you want to make the call back as soon as possible. Not calling back right away can result in a patient booking an appointment with somebody else. Now, reviewing the call before the callback is one of the most crucial steps in this process. This will let you have an understanding of what the patient's needs are and why they didn't book. This also helps in communicating to the patient that you already know why they called the office so that they don't have to restate the issue. And so, Tiffany, I know that you outlined some steps for that callback, but also think about some of these strategies to help change the patient's mind. So you want to introduce yourself as an authority figure. This is going to let the patient know that you value their business. So one strategy to also utilize is scarcity. So saying something along the lines of, there is an opening in the schedule that just occurred. That can be appealing to a patient. Placing a deadline on an opportunity increases the appeal of that appointment. Also think about social proof. Referring patients to review sites or any testimonials from other patients of yours, that can be a powerful influencer. And most importantly, identify what you're willing to do to gain the prospective patient. So do you want to offer them a discount, maybe bring attention to any coupons you may have out there, or even just offering to open up the office early or stay open late if that's more convenient for them. Now, these are just a few strategies to utilize, but reach out to your CallSource representative to discuss more strategies and to create a program that does work for your office. All right. If there's any other questions, you can feel free to either raise your hand or type in a question in the question box. So it looks like one other question was typed in from Heather, and she asked, what should I do if my office starts to see an increase in missed calls, and how can I tell if this is a problem? So first you want to find out why calls are not making it into your office. You know, start asking yourself, do you have enough phone lines for the calls to make it in? And then start to investigate, are your call handlers spending too much time on the phone? If they're spending too much time on the phone and you don't have enough phone lines and other patients are now receiving a busy signal, you know, that's going to be indicative of an issue that your office is receiving. Another thing that you may need to think about is if you're starting to see a big increase month over month of no answer phone calls, you know, do you need to increase staffing or make staffing changes so that you have enough people answering phones during your peak call times? Sometimes you may be sending people to lunch, but you may find that that's actually a busy time of day for you, causing a lot of those missed calls. And so just making minor tweaks to staffing can make a big impact on reducing those no answer phone calls that your office is receiving. All right. It doesn't look like there's any other questions, so I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. Once again, thank you so much for your time today. Look out for today's recording, and if you do have any questions about what we went over today, do not hesitate to reach out to your CallSource representative. Thank you.